Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 4 of my Gran Turismo 7 sort of playthrough series, my experience in this game, and today we will be tackling the National B licenses. I've already done the first one in a previous episode, I think episode number 2. It was part of one of the menu books from earlier on, but we'll be tackling this and the rest of them today. You're seeing International B Test 1 on screen now from that previous episode. We got gold fairly easily on that one, so let's just move in to test number 2, which is much the same thing, just the accelerating and braking test that seems to be at the start of every Gran Turismo game. In this case I think there are 2 of those, so we get going for the second test, starting and stopping 2, and it's the same thing, just in a faster car. I like the arrows there telling you to drive forwards, just in case you don't know that you need to go forwards and not backwards. But anyway, let's hit the brakes at the right moment. This definitely didn't take me 2 attempts. Don't look in the top right corner, definitely wasn't that. But anyway, gold time there, and that was relatively easy once again. So now we get into some corners. And we will do that with test number 3, cornering basics number 1, National B license 3. Confusing. Now let's get into this one. Just one singular corner of the All Saints Village circuit, right-hander, and it is basically flat out in this little car, so that's actually a very easy one. And despite not taking a very good line through the corner, we managed to beat the gold time nonetheless. So yeah, let's just move on to the next one and see if we can find a little bit more challenge. And I got that challenge with the next license test, cornering basics 2. This one was the first I had to sort of retry multiple times to get right. You can see on this first attempt, getting very sideways through the corner, and we are actually way off the gold time, only getting bronze on our first attempt. So yeah, that wasn't so good. But a number of attempts later, we were able to get gold, and that was this one. It was I guess tricky to begin with, but once you get used to the car, it's fairly simple. Got a lot of the car up and over the inside curb there. Surprised that was the fastest way. I thought that would sort of unsettle the car and send us a bit wide, but nonetheless, we got the gold time, and that's all that counts. Next up, we have cornering basics number 3, National B5, the test number, but fairly simple one. Once again, we just have to do the Dunlop corner, I believe this is called, of the Tsukuba Circuit, driving the Auto Bianchi Abarth. Very slow car, so there's, to be honest, not many ways you could get this one wrong, and yeah, we get gold quite easily on the first attempt there. Well, actually, I say quite easily, we only just beat the time. But on to the next one then, and this one proved much more difficult. National B6, cornering basics number 4. Same 2 corners of the Tsukuba Circuit, but this time we have a Nissan Fairlady Z that was a little bit more skittish to drive, much faster, and yeah, more difficult to control. Our first time that we set was 11.087, only 0.087 away from the gold time, so I thought, oh, this will be pretty easy. We only have to gain less than 1/10 of a second. That should be fairly smooth sailing. Boy, how wrong I was about this one, because it proved to be very, very difficult. This attempt in particular was a very frustrating one, as we missed out by just 9/1000ths of a second. That is almost nothing at that point. So that was incredibly frustrating at the time, but nonetheless we continued to try, and eventually we did manage to beat the gold time after probably a few dozen more attempts. It was a little bit ridiculous how long this one took. It shouldn't have taken as long as it did. I don't know what was going on with me, but you can see again losing time through the first corner versus that ghost, but gaining it all back at the second, and in the end we beat the gold time by a small margin. The next test takes us to Trial Mountain, National Beef 7, National Beef, that's the one, cornering basics number 5, and it is the corner at the end of Trial Mountains, back straight, relatively simple one. You can use this inside area, despite the fact it's not really displayed by the racing line. It's perfectly fine to go down onto that stripe section of the track and we set the gold time on our first attempt there. So that was a nice and easy one. Let's move on to number 8. So National B8 takes place on Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit, better known as Bathurst, a track that is quite close to home for me, at least by Gran Turismo standards of tracks around the world. Big mistake though at the first corner. They could have picked any corner of this track, and they picked probably the most boring one on the circuit other than lap 1, when it is the first corner of the race. But anyway, ignoring that, it should be a relatively easy one. Nice simple 90-degree corner. Shouldn't take us too long to get this one right. This corner called Hell Corner because supposedly that's where hell is unleashed on lap 1. Probably accurate, but anyway, we get through much more cleanly on the second attempt and cross the line and grab the gold trophy once again. And now we've only got 2 tests remaining before we get our National B license, so let's keep pushing and get this done. On to National B test number 9 then. It is cornering basics number 7, and this one takes place on the Dragon Trail Seaside circuit. And look at those mountains. That is a pointy mountain over there. But anyway, bit of a mistake there. This is of course our first attempt at this one. Cleanly through the second corner, but it's not quite good enough for the gold time. Just silver, but not missing out by too much, just half a tenth there, so shouldn't be too hard to get gold on this one. There's definitely plenty of time to be found in this, so we'll just go for one more run and we should be able to get it on this one, and that should be a job done. If we can just do things a little bit more smoothly, we stay out nice and wide here to make sure we get a nice flowing run through the second corner, and this will be a significantly improved time over our previous attempt. And there we go, we beat the gold time by over a tenth. So now on to the final test then, and this one is a couple of corners at the Tsukuba Circus. It's probably the longest one we've done so far. These first 2 corners, don't really need to worry about them as long as you end up at the right part of the circuit, entering this long left-hander. On this case we did not get this corner right at all. This is my first attempt at this test, so it's probably understandable why I completely missed that corner. When I say first attempt, I mean the first attempt I actually made it to the finish line, just to clarify that. But anyway, we cross the line and get 26.2, nowhere near the gold time, but that was all part of the learning process. Need to learn the car, the track, where to brake, and so on. And now, many attempts later, well, not too many, this one didn't take too long, but we do eventually string it all together. We do not go miles too deep into the first corner, as you can see the ghost car doing back there. But yeah, this was a relatively tidy run through the, I guess, 3 major corners you need to get right. The last corner was a little bit untidy, a bit of understeer, but we come across the line and we smash the gold time, 25.150, and that is a nice clean run through there, and that gives us our National B license and a bit of extra money, as well as another National B license. Interesting. But for that we also get a couple of prize cars, the first being a Renault Clio, I assume the same as what we were just driving, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a Renault Clio nonetheless, and the second is a Mitsubishi GTO. But yeah, other than that then, I don't think there's much else left to cover, so yeah, I will just say thank you so much for watching. I know this video was relatively short, and it's literally less than 10 minutes long, but I wanted to put all the National B licenses into one sort of compact video, and yeah, leave it at that, because I know there will be certain people who will be looking for how to get gold in all the licenses, so I thought I'd just put it all in one place and sort of leave it as a sort of thing on its own. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and goodbye.